You were in WCW, and I thought you had a great run as well. I really enjoyed your run in WCW, but obviously that was in like the most chaotic time possible for that company.
Yes.
Yeah, after WCW folds, and you didn't end up going over to the Federation during that ill-fated invasion angle, but you did then get signed by the WWE a few years later, and reunited with Nunzio and full-blooded Italians, and then your kind of cross-dressing gimmick you did, and the kind of whole run you had in WWE. How was that experience in WWE compared to your first run all those years later in terms of, I guess, less so in terms of the characters, because obviously you were then a very developed, established character, but more so in terms of what the company was like, because you saw WWF in 1992, 1993, and then you saw the WWE machine 10 years later. Like, what was it like to be back in that fold with all your
Okay.
experience?
So, to answer your question, you're talking about a 15-year separation,
Hmm.
right? So 15 years. Go back with Nunzio. You're talking, hey, I'm with the FBI. We win a title. They didn't just stick me in there. So Nunzio is Cruiserweight Champion. I'm with the champ.
Hmm.
Great thing, right? In the WWE, we knew who the boss was. It was Vince McMahon. In WCW, during that chaotic time, there were a bunch of bosses because they kept switching. You talk about having highlights in WCW where I was champion, and here I'm starting something new, and I'm still with a champion. You don't have to have the belt. If you're associated with it, you're still a champion.
Yeah, yeah,
In my eyes, and you don't need the belt is a prop.
yeah,
If it's a bonus, the belt gets you over. If you're a great worker, you don't need the belt.
yeah.
Okay. So when it came time for the ECW to come back, they wanted to take Nunzio and put him with ECW. At that time, I was under investigation, criminal activities, which nobody knew about. So the WWE had to come up with something to hide the bad publicity that I was about to receive. So they put me in this dress, just like Vinny the Chin Gigante used to walk around in a robe, so he didn't go to prison. He said, all right, how about if we do this? So this was on the fly. And I'm like, okay. So how do you wrestle in a dress? I have no clue. But the 15 years of preparation for this moment, guys, I'm going to repeat that. The highlight of the show, the 15 years of preparation just to get to this. People could say it was ridiculous. People could say, but people, I was undefeated. How many undefeated streaks do we remember in our time? Tatanka, Ric Flair during his retirement run, Goldberg, Vito. I was undefeated. The gimmick or the character was something I had to do, plus had to be a baby face on the switch.
Mm.
How do you do this? You sell everything and you wish that the baby face would sell for you when you are. So it was, the guys had to be rough and tough with me. There I am, the toughest man in the dress. And these guys, I said, guys, he said, Vito, come on, man, you don't want to do. I said, guys, if this is going to work, you got to be snug and you got to stick it to me.
Yeah.
All right. So I traveled with some of the guys. Vito, come on, man. I said, it's fine. I said, this is the way it is. It was a lifestyle change at a time when a lifestyle like that was not acceptable in our society.
Mm.
Kind of was, I was ahead of my time. But the love, I say love, admiration, um, the proudness of the boys because I was doing this and it was living your character in real life,
Yeah.
right? Not one of the boys ever said anything to me. They're always like shaking their head, you know. They couldn't believe I was doing it. There I was doing it.
Yeah.
I was overdoing it. I got to pose tastefully in one of probably the most glorious magazines. Like at that time, being a Playboy bunny was hot. I was a Playgirl hottie, and I got centerfold without exposing myself. It was at a time in my life where, okay, you can handle it because you're doing it respectfully. Now
Mm.
everybody thinks, yeah, man, if I could do this, all the chicks would go, oh, no. It wasn't because I did that. I did it tastefully, so everybody loved it even more. But from the girl's perspective, I used to ask them, how do you prepare for this? What do you do? Help me with it. All help me. One of the great things about being in the business all these years is, and even my wife will attest to it, all the ladies I was ever in the locker room or anywhere else with, they always said, Vito is always a gentleman.
Mm.
Gentleman, right? So that means I had love, I was a gentleman, and I had respect. It's three important things in life. And I had
Yeah.
this wrestling business. The wrestling business might not be that because of um, politics and other things, because everybody wants to get to the top spot. And I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have it, but what I got out of it is I got all three of those things. Plus, I had a career that people look at and they're realizing now that, oh my God, you had this career,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, yeah, but this is what you had to do to make it.